So this is going to be a bit of a weird video. As of recording this is about November 18th. We're about a day and a half-ish away from actually getting to play Bleach Soul Resonance permanently. It's out, global, launch, that's it. And here we have the Bleach Soul Resonance actual like guide Twitter, which is run by creators like Geku, I believe, who I followed for a long time for, what was it, JJK Phantom Parade. So shout out him. And I was taking a look at this list, and this isn't really going to be like my thoughts and opinions on every single character in the game or anything. This is just going to be a final sell for people who might be interested, reminding them that, hey, this game is coming up. It's always good if you've never, I started Dokkan 7 years after it was out. I started it during like the 8th anniversary. So if you've never played any of these sorts of games like this, one, Bleach Soul Resonance for now at least seems really free to play friendly. Its PvE loop feels really fun as an action game. And I guess as a third thing, if you want to play games like this and you want the best chance of remaining low spending, remaining free to play, it's good to get in on day one. Because let's be honest here, the content in gacha is always time gated. So if you're there early, you essentially get a bunch of time to clear what there is and then sit on your resources. That is the single best way to stay ahead of the curve in gacha, period. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise when it comes to free to play and low spending players. Obviously, if you're a whale, you just do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. So yeah, there's going to be a bunch of talking points I kind of just want to go over. And after, we'll sort of get into my plan. So here we have the must-have, which is Kisuke Urahara from, essentially Ichigo's mentor for a bit. And he is insane. As far as doing damage, that's not his role, but he supports like a bitch does he ever support, man. I think the damage percentage uptime is like 60% and a crit debuff. This guy is crazy. As for the SS units, Bankai Ichigo obviously is going to be the first real banner unit, limited banner unit. Remember that there is no 50-50 in this game, which means if you save to pity, you will get the character. Remember, let me repeat that for y'all. If you save to pity, you will get the character, I believe. Prayer hands, I'm pretty sure that is how it goes. And that is colossal in these types of games, because it means you always have a goal. It means you always have an endpoint. It means you never can get blindsided. If there is pity in a game, no 50-50, you cannot get blindsided. In Chaos Zero Nightmare, there's 50-50 pity, and then after the 50-50, if you happen to miss, there's guaranteed pity, which essentially means you can always save to double pity, and then if you hit it on the 50-50, then guess what? You get to keep saving. So please remember, if you're a new player, if you're getting into gacha for the first time, if you're free to play, some people are on the younger end, hopefully y'all aren't throwing away your lives to gacha, but a lot of people are always like, oh my god, it's so hard to be free to play, it's so hard to be free to play, it's so hard to be free to play. Guess what? It kind of isn't these days. In modern gacha, you can play some bum ass gacha, but a lot of times if the game looks pretty free to play friendly, if you're a Dokkan fan, for example, Dokkan's pretty free to play friendly. I hate to say it. You don't need Toppo when he comes out. I know that might suck to hear, but you kind of don't. So again, this game is new, so we won't know all of the details as far as every single little thing they're going to do. Maybe down the line it'll get scuzzier, but for now, let's just talk about more characters. We have Ikaku here, who is a DPS for yellow. If you're seeing these tags here, just a quick rundown. You can see Urahara is blue, Hitsugaya is blue, and Rukia and Orihime are blue themselves. This girl down here, whose name slips my mind because I haven't watched this portion or read this portion of Bleach since I was a child, so I don't remember her name. But they essentially can go on a team and activate typically a character that has one of these effects right here that you see on Hitsugaya, or on Towson rather, on oh my god, what is his name? Isn't it like Yuri or something? I cannot remember. Or Rukia here, or Byakuya here, right? So These characters with the little cross on them, they need color coordination to activate their secondary field abilities, which all make them incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful, right? Currently, as you can see, there isn't a blue one, but I would expect sooner rather than later, because this guy should have one, actually, right? Big Dog, like, he does have one. So is there a blue that's just not or is there one that's not shown here? Any of the colors not shown here? I don't believe so. So yeah, Rukia is the one they will activate with blue. Byakuya will activate with red. What is his name? It's like Yuryu or something like that. I can't remember his name. Quincy Man will activate with piercing with yellow, and Towson will activate with yellow, right? So you want to enable these characters when they're on a team, which means inherently there will be a lot of times where you have one of them on the team and you don't really want to put a second one on the team because you won't be getting the full value of that character. In the beta, which I played, I had Towson and Byakuya. Ultimately, I ended up playing more Byakuya. That was just for fun. There wasn't really any other reason, but Towson definitely is a character you should look out for. Anyone else here? Hitsugaya is a character that we didn't get to play in the beta, I believe. See, Yoruichi is a really cool DPS, character, very flashy character. One thing I will say about this game, as I butcher names, even though it's one of those things where, and again, this video is going to be very rambly. I really enjoyed Bleach when I was younger, when I was reading the manga actively, when I was watching the bits of it that came out, even the filler, even the Bount arc, all that shit. I really enjoyed it, but I am so bad with names. If your name is not Goku or Luffy or Guts or whatever, like, if you're not a JoJo or whatever, like, I am so bad at names. So apologies if that ticks someone off who's watching this, but it is what it is. As for other details with the game, though, this character right here who hangs out with Kenpachi, she's his lieutenant, right? She is super good. She's an incredible support. It's funny because I had her as well, but look at me literally forgetting her name. Characters I used actively during the beta, look at me forgetting their names. I didn't use much of him. I used, like I said, I used a little bit of Rukia. Orihime, no, not really. And the rest of these, no, not really. The character I'll be looking for on launch is Kenpachi. We can see that he is a red type. What does that mean for me, though? What does that mean for me if I'm like, okay, I'm targeting Kenpachi. He's my favorite. Zaraki Kenpachi is my favorite character in the game currently. That means I'm probably not going to be using any of my pulls for Bankai Ichigo, because what we'll assume is that we're going to get Ichigo, then Hitsugaya, I think, or maybe Hitsugaya is going to be in base, and then we're going to go into something like Zaraki, Kenpachi, Gin, or Rengoku, I believe her name is Rengoku. So my plan currently is to get into this game and get like resources to get Kenpachi. I don't care about Bankai Ichigo. I don't care about nothing like that. If I could get a Byakuya to support him or his lieutenant, that would be cool. But otherwise, Yorihara would be cool to see. The big thing is, and I think this is sort of the overarching decision you need to make, and it's one that I'm going to make right now. I will probably not be re-rolling. The re-roll in this game looks a little long, but it is a PvE game, so re-rolling does not have as much value as something as like E7. When you play Epic 7, you should probably re-roll. The reason you should probably re-roll is because the end game is PvP. Now, I know this game, the devs have talked a lot about whether they will do PvP, whether they won't. I think they said it's not off the table. So at some point, maybe we see that. This game does have a gear system. It does have a weapon system. It has a bunch of things to grind, which means that characters will inherently be very different from account to account. Even whale accounts will look very different than each other. So that's, pretty neat. Because of that, I don't look at this game as something I need to win immediately. In Epic 7, a free-to-play player, a low-spending player can do just fine in PvP. I'd imagine it would have been the same in this game if that were the case. I imagine that we will see many teams, many people who go out of their way to beat the PvE events with a bunch of really free to play characters. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, you know, it's even happening in Chaos Zone Zero where, Chaos Zone Zero, Chaos Zero Nightmare. Sorry, oh my god, I wish they did not name it that. But Chaos Zero Nightmare, where a bunch of people are putting out guides to beat the entire like event currently that's out in 2 turns on completely free to play characters, right? So one thing you need to know about these types of games is there will be an avenue. It's just how much you want it, how much time are you willing to put in. The most important thing you can do is just be doing your dailies, logging in, getting them done. The great news is the auto system does release very soon after starting the game, I felt like. And plenty of the content itself is autoable. So there isn't a ton that you just have to be babysitting in this game. There's a skip function already. So if you don't have time, you can just burn your stamina real quick, get your missions done and get out. This is a game where, like I said, I do suggest giving it a try if, one, you're responsible when it comes to gacha. You're not going to get addicted and spend all your money or anything. If there's one thing I always say, it's that gacha inherently is terrible purely because of the money spending aspect. But if we can control ourselves, then the gacha formula is very interesting, almost like a roguelite, because every account feels so different that it's almost like, you know, it's like you're creating your own little like collection, your little lockbox. So that is typically what I enjoy about gacha. And just to cap this off, like I said, I'll be hoping to get Urahara. I think he's the only character here who I really would be looking for. Of course, there is a pull, a selector, where you just burn all of your pulls on it, and eventually you'll get to pick a character. Like I said, I'll be picking Urahara 100%. But if you're a fan of Taozen or Byakuya, I would say those are great picks. You cannot pull the limited Ichigo, the Bankai Ichigo on that banner. So, you know, think about that. One thing about the Ichigo is that if you're aiming for that character, if that's the character you want to go into your account with, Byakuya is a great support for him. So, and I mean, so is Urahara, but essentially you're saying that you're going to pair up the two of the strongest characters in the game with him. So, you know, no duh. But I didn't really feel any characters being particularly weak. Did I die sometimes? Sure, but mostly that was just because I would play until the HP values got a little high. I would, maybe if I died, I would then go back out and, you know, upgrade gear, upgrade potential, talents, skills, whatever. And then I would go back in and it would be just fine, right? It didn't feel like I was getting walled by characters. So if you're struggling, like, oh, who am I going to pick? Who am I going to pick? I would just say go with your favorite. For me personally, because Kenpachi is the character I am aiming for, because Kenpachi is the character that I want most, I'm just going to be going with selecting Urahara unless something changes. This is the safest decision. Same for people who maybe you like Hitsugaya, maybe you like Gin, maybe you like Rengoku, maybe you're on that Goon time and you like Rengoku, that's fine. Yeah, I think that's enough rambling for now. So with all that being said, I'll see y'all in a day and a half, essentially. Especially while Dokkan's dead, it's a good time to get into other things. CZN has been really fun because, you know, Dokkan's been so dead that it's just nice to have something else to do daily that is, you know, pretty chill. So, like if you like the video, subscribe to the club, we gonna make it, and I'll see y'all for some Bleach in 2 days. Peace.